Right. Hi, everyone. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about empathy in leadership. So I want to start off by having you imagine a world where leaders truly understand the emotions of their teams, fostering, trust, collaboration, and success. Empathy is in such an importance to emotional intelligence and the key to unlocking this potential. Today, I'll explore how empathy transforms leadership in both sports and the real world, where we can hopefully create environments where people thrive and organizations excel in their goals. So, we're going to start off by defining what empathy is and what it means to lead with empathy. So, empathy is the ability to understand and share feelings of others. It's not just about recognizing emotions, it's about connecting with them. As Daniel Goleman explains and Robert Schneider cites, empathy involves awareness of others' feelings, needs, and concerns. For leaders, this means understanding the emotional states of their teams and using that insight to help guide decisions and actions in the organization. So, what is empathy in leadership? Empathy is a critical skill for any leader in both sports and business and the real world. In sports, coaches and sports leaders must anticipate the emotional responses of their team, whether it's the joy of victory or the frustration of defeat. Empathy allows sports leaders to address these emotions, and in doing so, sports leaders can build on the individual's motivations. When looking in the real world, empathetic leaders can predict employee behaviors, um, resolve conflicts, and hopefully inspire some collaboration along the way. Empathy also builds trust, which is so key to effective leadership. So, what does empathy look like in action in the sports world and in the real world? So, there are three practical examples that I have for us today. So, first is conflict resolution. So, empathy helps leaders mediate disputes by understanding the emotions of all the parties involved. By remaining neutral and balanced, they can resolve conflicts in ways that preserve relationships and organizational um, harmony. So next would be team building. Empathetic leaders create emotionally healthy environments where team members can both feel valued and supported. This in turn can help foster collaboration and drive innovative thinking, which in turn builds a more successful organization. The last thing I have for empathy in action would be change management. So during times of uncertainty, empathy allows leaders to address employees' fears and concerns, and ensuring, smooth transitions to whatever that change might be, and hopefully maintaining the morale of the organization. Additionally, as stated by April in the 2012 journal, leaders with high levels of emotional intelligence might be superior in monitoring um, and using intuition to determine how group members are feeling and therefore more able to take the appropriate action going forward. So you can really see why empathy is important to sports leaders and those who are leaders in the real world. There do come challenges and risks of neglecting empathy and emotional intelligence in leadership. So, first, with the challenges of empathy, despite its benefits, empathy is often overlooked in leadership due to cultural norms, especially in the male-dominated field of sports and of the industries like sports, where stereotypes are discouraging emotional expression among male leaders. Um, a lot of times when we're thinking about sports leaders, in especially athletes, these athletes are meant to be tough and really thick skin. There's no room for empathy in a leader, at least so they would think. Leaders may fear appearing vulnerable or weak. However, the best leaders are the ones who embrace empathy, recognizing it as a strength that enhances their ability to connect and inspire those around them. There are the risks of neglecting emotional intelligence and empathy. So, without emotional intelligence, leaders risk emotional exhaustion, and relationships can become strained, and which can then reduce the performance of everybody on the team. So, imagine a coach unable to manage their own stress, or a manager who fails to connect with their team. These scenarios can lead to disengagement among the individuals that the leader is leading, which can then lead to failure. By integrating emotional intelligence into sports leadership, we can prevent such things as burnout and build more resilient teams that, work together based on, connection. So how do we develop empathy as a leader? It starts by practicing, um, it's developed through intentional practices, I should say. Active listening is a great way to start. Pay attention to what others are saying and how they feel. When we genuinely pay attention to what others say and how they feel, we build trust and understanding with those people. Ways to practice active listening are by maintaining eye contact, to show engagement or nod or use affirming phrases to encourage the speaker. Another thing would be perspective taking. Put yourself in the other person's shoes to understand their experiences a little bit better. Ask questions to understand their feelings and reflect on your own emotions in relation to theirs. And then lastly would be emotional literacy. You need to be able to read and learn to recognize and interpret emotional cues. When we understand our own emotions, and those of others, we can respond more empathetically and connect on a deeper level. As Snyder from 2013 states, ideally, an emotional, intelligent organizational leader can alter the short and long-term attitude of employees through empathetic discussions. So, in conclusion, empathy is the heart of emotional intelligence, and it can be a very strong foundation for any effective leader. Whether you're a coach of a sports team or you're leading a business or a sports organization, empathy can empower you to connect on a deeper level, which can then inspire those around you to achieve their highest potential, and achieve the goals laid out by the organization. So let's make empathy a priority in leadership, creating a world where understanding and compassion are driving success. So I challenge you to practice empathy in your daily interactions. Listen more, judge less, and seek to understand how others are feeling. Thank you. References?